Hello and welcome. Today is 21 of August 2020. This video is dedicated for the people of Belarus and Russia. Well, I know your country. Maybe 2 years ago I was here in a point that I thought, well, there's a lot of torture and I didn't know if I will survive this here. Well, you know, they have a special kind of war here, a silent war, that they bring in this scalar wave machines. Well, it was developed in Russia because they are the masters of this scalar wave technology, but then they produced these machines in the US and now they are spread worldwide. It's a silent war, and they giving normally your neighbors money, or they hunting you with cars, and you got hits with the scalar waves. And I started my videos about this, how to defend from this. But before I started the videos, that was in May 2018, I decided, well, I will go to fight. I tried to go into Donbass, and well, I took a plane to Rostov-na-Donu, and but they didn't let me in, and they were haunting me badly here, and somehow it is strange for me that they didn't let me in. I was at that checkpoint, direction Donbass. Well, and they didn't let me in, and that took me wonder, because if they really hate me so much, and why do they hate me? Well, I'm a illegal son of this man here. My German listeners know him quite well. He was Chancellor here in Germany from 1974 to 1982. But in 2018, so that was 2.5 years ago, I had no idea why they haunting me, chasing me all the time, torture me in my apartment, giving all my neighbors in my house these devices. So, well, I didn't know, I had no idea, and I was wondering if they hate me and want to destroy me, so why don't they let me in, you know? This is a war zone. I decided, well, I don't want to wait till I'm dead in my apartment, and well, the police didn't help me here in Germany, and also all other people, they had no interest. If you tell them, well, there are wave attacks with radio waves or microwaves or whatever, well, they think this guy is crazy, and then they bring you to psychiatry. And I thought, well, I don't want to wait till I'm dead here, and so I will go to Donbass and fight against the occupation of Poroshenko's army. But they didn't let me in, and this was wondering. That was amazing for me. It would be very easy to make a trap there. You know, this stupid guy goes into a war, so it is a war zone, so it is possible that maybe he could die, so they could have made a trap for me, but they sent me back. They tortured me hard at the checkpoint. They had there was a cruel hard torture, maybe for 20 minutes. It was so hard that I realized, well, 1 day or 2 days you are dead. So that was, but they didn't want to kill me. It was only a threat to bring me back to Germany. And I was wondering, this soldier, they feared me. They had a lot of fear. I could see it in their eyes, and I was wondering, well, they have so many weapons there, Kalashnikovs, pistols, this whole checkpoints full of weapons, and I was just a poor boy. I had only my clothes, my rucksack, I was wondering why they fear me, but today I know. I have a special ancestor in Israel that is maybe a long time ago, and also my father. So the question is not who is my father. Well, I know already that was my father. He died in 2015. The question is more who was our father, and this is the reason why they fear me, and they are afraid to kill me because they fear my God. Has a lot of strength. I will tell you some more wonders or things that happens in my life that normally other people would not survive, but not in this video. Well, it is amazing that that they have so much fear that they don't try to kill me. They torture me, and they poison me also. Greetings to Mr. Navalny. I'm so sad about this poisoning attack. I had also some, but they were so that I could survive. It was only I got fever, and I gave myself into the hand of God, and then I slept, and I had the fever the whole night, and I was weak, and I was heavily sick, but then the next morning I climbed up again, and so it was over. They could kill me if they give me the right poison. Well, I pray that Mr. Navalny will survive. I pray for him. And well, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and there are many fights, and today I want to read something from the Bible, from the Old Testament. It is the book of Daniel. Daniel was a prophet who was captured from Jerusalem to Babylon. You know, about 500 years before Jesus was born, there was a big kingdom, the first superpower in the world, if you like, and that was Babylon, and Jerusalem was destroyed, and many Jews were killed, and then the rest they took and brought as slaves to Babylon, and Daniel was well, he was a kind of advisor, counselor for the king of Babylon. His name was Nebuchadnezzar. And well, I will read the first and second chapter from this book of Daniel, because it's very important still for our time. And yeah, you know, I see also these pictures from Minsk, from Belarus, and they say, well, it's like Ukraine, and it will turn into a new Ukraine with chaos, but it's not the same. It is not the same. The Maidan in what is it, Kiev, the Maidan in Kiev, capital of Ukraine. It was made. There were snipers on the roof, and it was well orchestrated to bring the Ukraine into a NATO, turn it into a NATO country, in order to have a new conflict between NATO and Russia, you know, and this was well planned. But now in Minsk it is a totally other situation, and well, some people say this. What is a leader now? I'm sorry, I'm not good in names. You know, this leader now in White Russia, that he does a lot of things for the people, and that well, he's also social. He pays money for the, well, he makes a good job, but well, it is that they want to have him as a hero, as it is said in the Bible. the book of Revelation of St. John, the beast with the seven heads, that is Rome, reign the world, rule the world with the kings, and now they decided that they want to keep this old king, this horn of Belarus, that he make a good job for the economy and so. But it's a dictatorship, no question. I was in Russia, and I feel this oppression also in Russia, that the taxi drivers were afraid about me. They got a job to bring me to another checkpoint. So they make another turn, bring me to the right checkpoint where all these agents were from Moscow. Yeah, you heard right. They had special agents for me. You know, I'm the son of a horn, of a former state ruler. I'm quite important for them, and so they had also agents from Moscow there. They made a they tried to demoralize me, so to make me weak, so that they threat me. They threat me that you maybe be killed or something like that, so that I get scared, and so they want to send me back to Germany, and I feel the oppression also in Russia, and I think it is not a big difference between Belarus and Russia. It is this old system, the police and the military is still quite cruel. The Russian army is one of the hardest army in the world. You know, they are really, it's a really hard army, and the taxi driver said it is such a bad life what they have. They have no freedom, and the economy is so bad in Russia also. And well, I think that it is maybe there's not a big difference between Russia and Belarus, but officially in Russia there's a democracy, but it was not such a big change. And in the 90s there was such a cruel dying when the economy broke down. So many people without a job. In the 90s there were million people that died from hunger, that they had not enough to eat. And in the Western medias they never talked about this. It was a cruel time in the 90s, and this change was quite cruel, and it is all about this hate Rome has against the Russian people, that they had resistance against the Pope for 1,000 years with the Christian Orthodox Church, and one of the main goal of the Russian Revolution was to kill all these priests, this Christian priest, Orthodox priest. They have new priests, but they don't have any spiritual power anymore. I wonder if they know the Bible anymore. I don't know. I don't think so. Well, you had a hard time the last 70 years, and it can be that Belarus is the first country who makes a change, find back to God, to the law of God, and find the freedom. And it's very impressive to see these pictures of Minsk. Well, I think I start now. It is the book of Daniel, and I need a glass. I'm getting older. When I was younger, I did not need this, but I know it is somehow the time. And the book of Daniel, chapter 1. Well, it is not only because I'm getting older, it is also that they disturb me. They have a special frequency that I can't see so good anymore. Well, I think I take this. Chapter 1. In the 3rd year of reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, which part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favoured and skilful in all wisdom and cunning, in knowledge and understanding, science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans, well, the Chaldeans, the inhabitants of Babylon. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were of the children of Judah Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God has brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who had appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces was liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my heed to the king. Yeah, he asked him for other food, and the prince of the eunuchs, he said, well, if you ask me for another food, when I give you this food that could bring me into danger. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove they servants, I beseech 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with the servants. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. Well, pulse is another word for vegetables. As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired, them he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the 1st year of King Cyrus. Well, this Daniel, he was from Jerusalem, and they found out that he has quite good skills, and that he is an important man. The king of Babylon realized this, and one day he asked him that he should explain a dream he had. The king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, had a dream, and this is quite an important place in the Bible. It is, well, I continue with reading chapter 2. In the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to all the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to shew the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever, tell the servants the dream, and we will shew the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the king, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if you shew the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore shew me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will shew the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that you would gain the time, because you see the things is gone from me. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there's but one decree for you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can shew me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is not a man upon the earth that can shew the king's matter Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magicians, or astrologers or Chaldean. And it is rare thing that the king required, and there is none other that can shew it before the king, except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, Why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would shew the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house, and made the king known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Short break. Well, Daniel found out the dream of the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, and then he went to the king and explained it. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changed the times and the seasons. He removed kings and set up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealed the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will shew unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king, and said, The secret which the king had demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers shew unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and make it known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the later days. Thy dream and the visions of thy had heat upon the bed are these. As for thee, O king, the thoughts came into my mind upon the bed, what should come to pass hereafter, and that revealed secrets made known to the what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightst know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image heat was of fine gold, his breasts and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the calf of the summer three in floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled whole earth. This is a dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven had given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven had he given unto thine hand, and had made the ruler over them all. Thou art his head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be stronger as the and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces and subdued all things, and as iron that breaken all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seeds of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Well, I end here. I'm sorry that was maybe quite annoying for you. It was a difficult reading because they're shooting all the time in my head. And I will explain you this part. You can read it by yourself. It is the Bible. It is the book of Daniel. It was chapter 1 and chapter 2. And chapter 2 I didn't read all. I stopped at verse 44. It is a quite important place in the Bible. Here you find all the world powers that had existed until today. There's it started with this golden head that is Babylon. You know, gold is a symbol for the Babylon Empire. Then came silver, that is the Persian Empire after Babylon broke down. The Persians had a huge kingdom that was from, I don't know, that was a quite big kingdom. That was from, it went to East Africa, from Somalia to India and also Greece. It was a big empire. It is the second world power here, and the third was the Greek Empire, and the fourth is the Iron Empire, which is Rome, and we live still today in this Iron Empire. And the legs and is of iron, and the feet is the feet of this statue. It is a statue. It is iron with clay mixed. Clay is a symbol for man, for mankind, for humanity also. You remember maybe the Genesis when God breathed his odom into the clay when he built Adam and Eve. You know, when he created mankind, he took clay. So clay is here also a symbol of mankind, and this iron and clay is somehow mixed. It is a feed, and it can't stand forever. This whole statue, all this temporal power, this tyrants, this dictators, all this temporal power will one day it will all break down, and the kingdom of God will here on earth. This is a prophecy of Daniel. He interpreted the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. He forgot, but then he said, well, yeah, this is a dream I had, and well, it sounds for us somehow crazy. How can a man recognize a dream that he didn't know, and also the king didn't know? And so if you can't find out my dream, I will kill all of you. So this Nebuchadnezzar was quite a crazy king, but the Daniel found out with the help of God, and he said that also your kingdom will break down, and it did. When the Persians came into power, they took Babylon, and they made their capital also in Babylon. But then this old kingdom was down, and then the Persians had a big kingdom, and this Babylon really existed. It is 50 kilometers south from Baghdad. Now it's Iraq, But you can say this state of Iraq was somehow the size of this old Babylon. Maybe Babylon was bigger. It went also over now the whole Middle East to down to Egypt. So this Babylon was quite big, and well, but it was the first world power, and now this world power we have now, in fact it is Rome. They still worship this first world power, this Babylon, you know, that, yeah, also this cult, you know, this Baphomet cult, that this Nebuchadnezzar was known for his cruelty, throwing newborns into fire, children into fire, sacrificing children for the sun god. There was a god they called sun god or Satan or Baal, and this cult is still existing all around us. There are so many children disappearing every year worldwide, and nobody knows where they go. Well, it is because of this Babylon cult, you know, this sun god. And well, I planned to make videos about this, but not on YouTube. I will make a link to BitChute maybe. I decided it is better to give you some hope, yeah, not to talk about this cruelties, this abominations of the world. But I also witnessed this when I was a boy. But I can't tell you here. Well, I think this gives us hope. It shows that all this tyrannies on earth, and it was such a long period, the last kingdom, the Iron Kingdom from Rome, it changed a little bit. You know, from they don't fight in a direct way. They fighting with infiltrating our governments worldwide. It is no matter if it is Angela Merkel or Putin or whoever. In the Revelation, this beast with the 7 heads rule over the world with the kings with the horns. So the beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The horns are the temporal rulers, the political rulers. It doesn't matter if they are kings, if they are democrats, if they are dictators. You know, it is all the beast with the 7 heads, and it is the Iron Empire we are living in now. But it is mixed with clay, and if this clay awakes, if they find, the people in the world, they find back to God, the love of God, so this whole world powers, they will break down. This is the promise here, and I think it's starting now. Well, I wish you the best in Minsk and all other places. There are so many places now in the world where the people start to move now. And well, see you next video.